Dementia residents need to be able to identify with the outside world to best be able to orientate to living inside a dementia unit. They need to be able to and like to know about the seasons, and they especially like to know the time of day for meals and the day of the week for when their relatives are going to visit. So all of these things help them in terms of orientating to living in a dementia unit and being able to know what's coming up and what's going on. But to be able to help that, for them to know, for example, what's the time, it's important for them to have a watch that's functional with a battery in it. I mean, they love having a watch of this generation. They're used to knowing the time, and they like to know the time, especially for lunchtime. When's that happening? And dinner time, is it 5 o'clock? Is it 6 o'clock? So if they have a watch, then they can keep track of the day-to-day goings on in the dementia unit, of which there's many things happening every hour practically. There's newspaper reading, say at 9:30, exercises, say at 11, lunch at 12, movie in the afternoon, then, some other activity later in the day, often dinner at 5. So if they know all these various activities coming up, with their watch being able to, assess the time, and also having a daily calendar with all the activities written on it, either the activities calendar from the facility, which is often put behind their door, or if the main activities are written up on a whiteboard in their room, better still, especially if they've got poor eyesight, then they can navigate what's going on and what's coming up. Now, with the monthly calendar of activities, often it's very small writing, even if the person has prescription glasses, too difficult to read. So it really needs to be blown up, either blowing up the calendar so the person can read it, or putting up, preferably really, the favourite times. For example, if they like going to the newspaper reading every day at 9:30, just on the whiteboard put every day 9:30 newspaper reading. Now, as well as the watch, as well as the whiteboard reference, it's also good to have a clock with dementia clocks. You can get them that have the time, the day, and the date. The day especially is important, because otherwise it's difficult to know what day of the week it is. They might know the time of day, but they don't know the day of the week, especially if they're not getting a newspaper. Those dementia residents, the few dementia residents that get a newspaper, will know the day because they can read that, but other dementia residents won't. But if they've got the clock in their room, so they know it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they know that it's in the weekend mostly that relatives visit, so they can look forward to that, and then they can start orientate themselves throughout the week. So these are all ways that you can help with orientation. Glasses, of course, are important for orientation so that they can see. Prescription glasses so they can read both the menu at the meals, newspaper if they're lucky enough to get a page of it, magazines if they're available, and their room number and name. That's extremely important. If their vision is blurry and they haven't got glasses, it's often difficult to see their name on the door and the room number. And even if they can see it, it's a stress that they have to focus on rather than being nice and clear with prescription glasses. So it takes a bit to get all this sorted with the watch and the clock and the glasses. But once it's all in place, then the person is able to orientate. Now, lovely, generous relatives, if they've got all this in place, and as well as that, if they can include the subscription for the newspaper, that is so good, because then the person can really orientate to the news of the world, to the day of the week, which is on the newspaper, to what's happening in the city. They can discuss it with friends and family at the unit and when people visit, and they can orientate and have a good quality occupation or hobby or activity, say, to read the newspaper 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day, which many people do, fills half the day, so they can have quality of life with all these things, orientate at the same time. And when they're orientated, that is when confusion will settle. When you're disorientated, there will be confusion. But if a person in a dementia facility can orientate to their room, to the lounge, to the dining area, they know where to go, what to do, what's coming up, then they'll be much more relaxed and much happier living in a dementia facility. So all these stories and more, all these aspects, the resident's voice and the resident's rise, both from a dementia unit, I've written in these books, all the techniques to help and how we can help these people. And these books are on Amazon and on my website description below. So thank you for your viewing and your comments, and please subscribe.